G'day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another cracking episode of Investing in the US. I'm your host, as always, Reed Goosens. Good as always to have you with us here on the show. Now, I am super excited to be bringing you these next two episodes because you know what? It is our fifth anniversary here at Investing in the US. We are 5 years old, and 5 years means 250 episodes. Just let that sink in there for a second. 250 episodes. I started this podcast way back in the day in 2015 when probably only my grandmother and my mum were listening to the show. And now we've grown this podcast to have some incredible guests, and we've grown the audience and the listenership across the world. And it's all thanks to you guys. And so these next two episodes are really a walk back through time, a look back at the top 10 episodes that I think have been the best that I've been able to give you in terms of the content, in terms of the guests who've come on here, and in terms of what they've been able to give you in inspiration so you can go out and be successful in your business. Now, before we dive into these top 10 episodes, I want to remind you can follow me on all the social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. And also, if you want to give back to this show, the easiest way of giving back is by jumping over onto iTunes and giving the show a 5-star review, because we have been going for 5 years. And without that support, without those 5 stars, we don't know if you guys are loving this show or not. So we really appreciate any support you get. And if you are interested in investing with me, alongside me at Wildhorn Capital, head over to my website at reedgoosens.com, sign up for our newsletter, sign up to be notified about all the cracking deals we're coming to market here in 2021. And with that being said, let's get into the top 10 episodes of Investing in the US over the past 5 years. I hope you enjoy. So back in 2018, I recorded one of my favorite episodes with a gentleman by the name of David Osborne. This is episode 101. And in that episode, we talked to David, and David is his story about growing to the 5th largest residential real estate brokerage firm in the United States with Keller Williams in Central Texas. Incredible story of what he's built at his company. And we also dive deep into how he's built ecosystems around different forms of income streams, and how when building an ecosystem of businesses, each income stream feeds off one of the next. And that is how you create long-term wealth. We also talk about how goal setting is extremely important to being successful. So I hope you enjoy this rewind with David Osborne.
I was not a great student in school, and I was always just good at working, man. I like to work. I wasn't even a great athlete. I was just an average athlete. I wish I could say I was better. Wasn't the smallest kid, but I wasn't the biggest kid. I was just always kind of average at everything. But it used to kind of tick me off that I was that way, and I always felt like I should be better, but I really wasn't. But I think that little fire inside, I just kept that burning my whole life, and that's really why, I bloomed late in life. I really didn't find my stride till my 30s. But I guess because I had so much momentum behind it, I've just kept going. I'm still doing a lot of stuff to this day. In fact, in answer to your question, I started my own lawn mowing business when I was in high school, and then I went on into door-to-door sales, direct sales, and kind of went from one thing to another. And then my mom joined real estate. My dad retired from the military, and my mom got into real estate when I was 14, and I really never saw her again. She became a realtor, and she would go to work at 5:30 and leave at 10. She became the top realtor, 10 p.m. that is, not 5:30 to 10 in the morning. And she became the top realtor in this startup company called Keller Williams. She was like agent number 5. Today, there's 170,000 Keller Williams agents. So I joined her a few years later, let's see, that would have been when I was 14. So when I was about 25, so maybe 10 years later, maybe 12 years later. And I got in it, and I sold real estate for 3 years, did really well. But after about the 3rd year, I was like, man, there's got to be more to life than this. Well, it just so happened Keller Williams was expanding. They were looking for people to go open offices. At that time, we probably were maybe a few thousand people. And so I just put my hand up and said, hey, I want to do some more. And I got sent off to Dallas. And really, the success I've had in real estate has been more a factor of me putting my head down and driving really hard, looking for more, being aggressive. But I can't say, there's a saying I love. It's okay to be number 2. Everybody wants to be number 1, right? But if you're number 2, like Gary Keller, that founded the company, he's number 1 in the real estate space I'm in. And he's going to be worth probably 5 to 10 billion by the time he dies. It's not bad to be number 2 to a guy worth 5 or 10 billion,
Right.
I've got a airplane I used to fly around in, but it's just a twin prop, right? So it's a King Air. The guys I know have some guys I know have jets, but it's not bad to have a twin prop. Let me tell you, I may be number 2 to those guys, but it's not bad. So being number 2 isn't the worst thing in the world. Of course, we all would like to pound our chest and be the number 1 dog, but it's really just fine to do really, really well and follow a star. And I think I've made a career of that. I've always looked for the smartest guys that I could sort of be around and honor and cherish those guys, just like that kid serving drinks to the ambassadors, of the other countries. If I find a guy I think I can learn from, man, I'm going to send him books. I'm going to pay attention to him. I'm going to try to be of service to those people. And I found that always works if you find the right guys, because they appreciate you. I'm not being a total suck up and a total brown noser, but what I'm saying is I respect you. I honor you. I know your time is valuable. And if you're going to teach me something, I'm going to buy you a bottle of wine, or I'm going to send you a handwritten card after we met. And then I tend to reach out to successful people and say, hey, what would it take for you to, what would I have to do to earn lunch with you? So I would email, technically a guy like, say, Michael Bloomberg or Warren Buffett, and I would say in my email, hey, what would it take for me to earn the right to have a coffee with you, just to sit down for 15 or 20 minutes? And some guys blow you off, but some guys give you that time. And my experience is when you're around guys that are up to big things, it becomes almost second nature for you to be up to big things. So that's, I've kind of clawed my way up by just always finding another role model and another example to emulate as I get better at everything I do.
Next up, we have Keith Wasserman, and I recorded an interview with Keith Wasserman back in 2018, episode 127. And Keith, if you don't know who Keith is, he's a pretty remarkable guy. He is in his mid-30s, and he has built a real estate company worth over $1 billion. So $1 billion of real estate under management at his company at Gelt, G-E-L-T. Really incredible story about how he's gone from nothing to build it so quickly over the last 15 years and at such a young age as well. So I really encourage you guys to go listen back to the entire episode. But now we're just going to we're going to give you the snippet of the best things from that episode. Hope you enjoy.
The hardest part is getting started. Try to find we call them the gray hair, someone that has the experience, a mentor, someone to partner with that believes in you, and you could bring the youth and energy. And, this is for the younger folk out there. I think because we didn't have the experience, but we had that youth and energy and new ideas. And, we partnered with the gray hairs, and that really helped us with our growth. And then I'd say another thing is that this business is not for everyone. You could be happy, if you're happy with your job and making good money, it's good to invest with a group like ours or yourself to really diversify. And it's just really passive. The investors get quarterly distributions and, majority of the upside. And it's just a great way to diversify and, put a few bucks in a lot of the deals rather than owning one little small building yourself or 2 small buildings or whatever. So I'd say getting started is the hardest part, but the most important. And, try to make sure that first deal is a successful one. We have had one of our fourplexes, I think we sold at a loss, and then we came out of our own pocket and paid that investor back just to make them whole. So reputation is extremely important, and we want to say we've never lost anyone money, and we haven't lost anyone money. So
great.
That's also another important one.
That's a fantastic piece of advice for anyone out there listening who is wanting to get involved. And I know, Keith, we'll get your contact details at the end of the show. But, mate, I do like to ask my guests to give me the top 5 investing tips. You ready to get into it?
Let's do it.
Mate, what is the daily habit you practice to keep on track towards your goals?
Daily habit, I'd say I usually, when I get in, I walk around the office and just talk to everyone, see what everyone's up to, make sure we're advancing the ball down the field and making progress. I also have a task list with the most pressing important ones at the top, and I review that every day. And then just getting back to people in a timely manner, I'd say just to continue to grow our business. When I started, we were doing everything. Now we're compartmentalized. I'm really focused on being the chairman and really seeing the vision and direction our company's going, and overseeing, the personnel, and not as focused on the individual acquisitions or, just really big picture thinking. And we have a great team that could implement our strategy.
I think that's incredible. Do you use any particular, are you a note taker or you're a digital type of guy that takes to-do lists down?
All digital to-do lists. We use Slack in the office. So we have around 18, 19 employees. We're all on Slack communicating with each other, which is great. For our investors, we use IMS, which has been great for reporting to all the investors, and it's all brought us online and reduced the amount of time that our accountants used to cut 1,000 checks a quarter. Now it's very few people are on check. It's all ACH and much easier for them, and the investors could get their K1s and all the reports and online. And so that's been really integral. And yeah, we're always looking at new technologies to implement and stuff.
Awesome. Who's been the most influential person in your career to date?
Most influential, I'd say it's a tie between my dad and my wife, I'd say. So without my dad, I wouldn't have that entrepreneurial spirit and fire. And without his support, I wouldn't be able to get to where I was, because as a 24-year-old when I started, I didn't have the financial statement to get on these loans, and he really believed in me. He put a few bucks in our early deals and just helped us grow with his network and his resources, and I love him for that. And he's been always a role model, a mentor. And then my wife, because she's pushed me ever since day one. When I met her, I had one fourplex, or not even, maybe. And she has always pushed me to be a better person and to really help me on some of these big decisions. I talk through things with her and stuff. And then also my cousin and business partner, Damien, has been made some great decisions along the path. And his father also helped us really learn how to handle all the construction on the projects and oversee the different capital, projects. So it's been a lot of people, but I'd say Damien, my dad, and my wife, like the three of us.
Nice, man. Awesome stuff. If they're listening, he's your Keith's most influential person in his career to date. What is the most influential tool and the tool in your business that helps move that ball down the field, whether it be physical, a hardware, or a software that you use? I'd
say personal relationships. So, over any hardware and software, just being in person, taking the brokers to lunch, meeting other sellers, just being in the business. People know we're active. I want to be in top of mind, top of sight, kind of thing. And just pounding the pavement, I'd say.
Awesome. Awesome stuff. What's been the biggest failure in your career to date? What did you learn from that failure?
Biggest failure, probably maybe in the way beginning, not having partners that are aligned with you and have the same vision could be one. Partnership is like a marriage, and you really have to spend a lot of time and know, who you're partnering with. And we learned a great deal from one of our earlier partners, but just wasn't a good mesh. We're butting heads a lot, and but we wish them well, and they're doing really well and stuff, which is great. Another thing, failure. I mean, financially, we lost money on one deal, but we came out of our pocket to pay that person. Other failures, I'd say, communication, maybe around the office. That's always where things get lost in translation. Always. So if you have an issue with someone, go directly to them instead of to someone else. It just festers and makes it worse. So just open, direct communication with people is most important.
I'm going to throw in another question before that, my last question, because I'm very intrigued by the fact that you've grown to 18, 19, 20 employees. Has the infrastructure in your business and your leadership changed at all? Going from nothing, from you and your cousin and your dad, and it sounds like your wife to 19 employees. I'm sure there's been growing pains in that. Do you want to just talk briefly to that?
A lot of growing pains. We started, my cousin and I, out of my parents' library. We were working. My cousin lived above the garage, and I lived in my bedroom at home. So we all, I was saving a lot of money living at home. And then we moved into a small office that was me, my cousin, and another younger gentleman. And then, we just, the last 2-3 years have been some growing pains just because we've scaled so quickly in terms of headcount. We have like 5 people in accounting, and we have, 2 people now in acquisitions, and 2 people in asset management, and, just a COO, a CFO, some intern. We have 6 interns now, 2 like every day they rotate. And just having, our CFO plays like an HR role, which we never really had before. I sort of ran the company. It's still like a family vibe and family run, and, but got to have some procedures and process in place. But it's been great. We have like a corporate retreat coming up Monday through Thursday, which I'm really excited about, with some team building stuff. And that's our second corporate retreat, so we're doing that every year now. Just really, Yeah, just
That's awesome. I think it's, I can just hear you, and I can hear in your voice that you've had to grow, right? Because sometimes investors, as you grow towards $1 billion, like even $500 million, even to like $100 million in assets, like investors like to see titles like CFO and HR and acquisition manager and stuff like that, not just Keith Wasserman and his cousin doing everything and anything. And I'm sure you had to do it for many, many years before you got that scale.
We had to do it. We had to learn it. We just didn't have the resources to pay the people. But as we've scaled, more income comes in, and those people will help creating more income. And
right.
We everyone in the company, we just implemented where they share in the promote and in the cash flow splits also. And it's really making everyone a partner.
Right. And I guess it incentivized to make sure that the deal's working and being on top of their game and being the best person they can be for the company, right?
Exactly. Yep.
No, I think you sounds like you've instilled some fantastic qualities with your company. Obviously, you had some growing pains, but that's normal. We're all human, right? So dealing with people and as you said, taking on a property management company would not be something that you'd be wanting to do. But really awesome stuff, mate. Next up, we have Glen Carlson. And Glen was recorded on the show back in episode 150 in 2019. Now, Glen, I've got a bit of a man crush on Glen, to be honest. He's a great guy, super pumped guy who always brings an incredible amount of knowledge. He's the co-founder of a company called Dent Global, which is a company that provides an accelerator platform and program for entrepreneurs who want to scale up their business through building a personal brand. And he is all about the power of personal brands and how that helps you recession-proof your business so you can be more successful in the future. Definitely encourage you go and give him a listen back at 150. But in this little snippet, we've taken out the best part from that episode, so I hope you enjoy.
You don't have to be a key person of influence. If you can come up with Mark Zuckerberg didn't have to become a key person of influence to launch Facebook because he was smart enough to be able to come up with $1 billion algorithm. The Google boys, same deal. The Uber boys, same deal. So if you have the ability to code some artificial intelligent algorithm that's going to help, navigate the spaceship to Mars, Elon's happy to pay you $1 billion for that, you don't have to be. In my experience, though, if you're not somehow creating something that is truly unique, as in like an AI algorithm that's never been created before, if you're a real estate agent, if you're a lawyer, if you own an engineering firm, there are alternatives to you. The moment you're in a world where there are alternatives to you, it doesn't become a game of, well, you're the only one that can navigate me to Mars, so I'm going to work with you. It becomes, okay, well, who am I now going to choose? So the moment you're in that world of, okay, my prospects have options. The moment you're in that world, you are then pretty much in a hyper-competitive world because it's not just people competing locally. If you're an accountant, for example, you're now competing with platforms like Xero, and you're competing with accountants in India that have double PhDs in Australian tax law or US tax law or whatever it is, right? So you're not just under competitive threat with local experts, you're under competitive threat with international experts, and you're under competitive threat with technology, machine learning, artificial intelligence, and what that's going to do over the next 15 years. And it's kind of like there's two big magnets in the economy. There's that technology is driving. One of them is the $50 a day magnet, and one of them is the $5,000 a day magnet. And the $50 a day magnet is basically technology is replacing low-level work to mean you're going to struggle to make $50 a day, which in the developed world for most people is shit because it's replacing their jobs. And if you're a taxi driver or an Uber driver making, $20 to $50 an hour, well, the moment automation comes, you're in trouble. However, the $50 an hour is great if you're working in a developing country making $5 an hour, and that the help technology is going to give you access to a global market. The other side of that coin is the $5,000 a day, is that if you are showing up in a way that can't be replaced by technology, which is not the worker or the white collar person pushing stuff around like a knowledge worker, but you're actually the thought leader. You are positioned in a way where people go, that's the person. That is something that technology will struggle to replace in anywhere near the sort of the short term. So we see, because there are these two big forces of technology playing in the market, and there are these three brands. There's a product brand, there's a company brand, and a personal brand. In small business, people don't buy products or company brands or logos or taglines. They buy from people. In the same way, people don't work for those logos either. They work for the people. And so the biggest thing we discover is that the moment the founder connects the dots to go, the fastest way for me to cut through this highly competitive noise, the fastest way for me to rarefy myself and decommoditize our business is not by trying to necessarily have a more innovative product or service. Because how do you have a more innovative product or service if you're a real estate agent or an accountant or a lawyer? It's like, deal with my tax. But you can have a disruptive, innovative brand positioning, method, philosophy cut through that makes the majority of that market go, whoa, I'd never thought about it like that before. Now I'm going to work with you. And what essentially happens is, because you've won the war of ideas, of philosophy, before even talking about your product or service, which is what thought leaders tend to do, the competition becomes irrelevant. And so the moment we saw that and recognized that, and the moment people recognize that, well, then it's like, okay, what does it take to do that? It doesn't take much. People are often thinking, well, I'm not a thought leader. But the big insight that I had, because that was my fear, right? I met Tim Ferriss in London at his first book launch, and there was 20 people there at the book launch. I'm like, Tim, mate, we literally launched a local guy here, Mike Harris's book, and put him in front of 2,500 people. We should do some work. And he's like, you know what, dude, I'm just having lots of fun.
Next up, we have MC Laubscher. And MC, I recorded an interview with him back in 2019, episode 149. And MC is another expat who's here crushing it here in the United States. He's come here with not a lot, and he started something from nothing, very similar to myself. And he has started a really successful podcast called The Cashflow Ninja. I've been on that show a couple of times. He's been on this show a couple of times. But in this episode that we recorded back in 2019, we talk about the benefits of really learning how to fail as an investor, and why newbies fail early on in their career, and we talk about how you go up setting yourself up for success so you don't have those same hurdles or pitfalls as some newbie investors do when they get started out. So I hope you enjoy.
We could ramble on about the wrong data, financial education. We could go on about so many different things of why people fail. But there's one thing that's really at the core of everything that I see over and over and over, and that's that they don't have a strategy.
Right.
And, Robert Kiyosaki, best-selling author, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Your listeners are probably very well familiar with him. He talks about it all the time, about that real estate is just an asset. Insurance is just a vehicle. Commodities is commodity. Gold and silver is gold and silver. Oil and gas is oil and gas. All these things are just vehicles. So how is it that, you have a lot of folks just knocking it out of the park, just eating meat pies, basically ordering meat pies rather. Mess that one up. But why is it that some of the folks are just knocking it out of the park and other people are losing everything, right? Here's a great example. And this is probably within the last, 12, 13 months, but that whole crypto mania that was going on, this was towards the end of, I think, 2017, maybe.
Yep.
So how is it that there's some people still today looking at buying islands in the Caribbean, and then there's some folks that lost everything? They mortgaged their house. They completely destroyed them, right? And the whole thing comes down to strategy, because they don't know, first of all, they don't know what they have and why they have it. And they don't know what to do and why they're doing it. That's kind of a strategy. It's like, listen, why are you in real estate? What particular real estate are you in? How are you how are you investing in that in a certain way, and why are you doing that? I don't think anybody asks themselves that question, because I don't think anyone would be in mutual funds in a 401k if they stopped for a second and said, okay, what do I own and why do I own it? That would be the first one. And the second part would be, what am I doing? Do I just hand my money over to someone else? Or am I actually doing something, and why am I doing it? So that would be the first thing. But I think a strategy is like that. That's the centerpiece of everything. Here's another analogy. I love using these. I sometimes butcher them, but I keep trying.
Same here, mate.
Yeah. So being from South Africa, I'm a horrible golfer, but I love watching golf. And one of my favorite golfers ever is, Retief is great. Ernie is, Ernie is one of those guys that he's just, I just love watching Ernie hit a golf ball. Ernie's got a phenomenal swing. They call him the Big Easy because of that nice golf swing that he has. Now, if someone came to me and said, MC, I know you're a horrible golfer, but, give Augusta a crack, would you?
Yeah.
You could either take Ernie's clubs or his swing. Which ones are you going to take? Well, of course, I'm going to take Ernie's swing, right?
Right.
But I think the majority of folks are focusing on the golf clubs. And I think that's the difference between product focused and being strategy focused. And all of the marketing, we just had a conversation about marketing. All of the marketing by media outlets and media that people are consumed is very product focused and not strategy. Buy this mutual fund. Why? I don't know. I mean, it's just, again,
it's good. Trust me, it's good.
It's good. Buy this, flip this house. Why?
Right.
What's the strategy? Where does it fit in? Is wholesaling providing liquidity so I can invest in multifamily and then eventually syndicate and, have my targets with doors and, money under management, all that kind of stuff, right? It's all part of the strategy. There's a bigger picture, right, and everything is connected. And I think sticking to that, the strategy, a holistic strategy, because this is the beginning of the new year, as you just mentioned. We know in health, listen, you have to work out, you have to eat properly, you have to recover and rest and sleep, and you have to hydrate, right? Take care of your body. And everybody probably listening to this is going, well, duh, thank you for that piece of advice. We know it's all connected and tied together, but when it comes to our wealth and wealth creation and our money, we have everything in different buckets. And it's completely not together, which it should be. So you can craft them all together from a strategy, whether it be taxes. Yeah, I can make a lot of money. We consult with clients. They're knocking it out of the park, making a lot of money in their businesses, but they're overpaying so much for taxes. I mean, I'm talking very high 6-7 figures in taxes. So if you, at that stage, if you can reduce your taxes, for example, by 20%, if somebody's paying almost $1 million in taxes, do you think a 20% savings in taxes is going to move the needle for that guy? Absolutely. So it's all connected.
And last up, in the top 5 investing in the US podcast episodes, we are talking about Mr. Christopher Kai. And I recorded an interview with him actually quite recently, episode 232. And we talk about big game hunting and how he uses a powerful pitching protocol to go out and attract A-list celebrities, billionaires, leaders of countries to invest in your business and help them and help you grow your business through interacting with really high rollers in and around society. It's a really incredible episode. He has written the book, Big Game Hunting, How to Attract Billionaires, CEOs, and country and influential leaders across the globe through an effective pitch. So really, really powerful episode. I do highly encourage you to go back and listen to the entire thing, episode 232. But now we're just going to take the best snippet, and I hope you enjoy it.
It's what I call a 3-second rule. If you have to think more than 3 seconds, you're already done. The hesitation kills dreams. So when I met Elon Musk, literally, he walks outside the Montage Hotel in Beverly Hills. There's an after party. They're going up to one of the Getty, the heir of the oil family. They always have after parties after these galas. So I literally see Elon Musk right there. He's waiting for his car. He's Elon Musk. So again, the 15-year-old kid in me is like, oh my God, that's Elon Musk. But the more refined Christopher Kai literally walks up to him, no hesitation. Because again, these people aren't just going to hang out for you. Walk up to him. Elon, great job at the World Affairs Council, because I saw him speak. So you built some kind of commonality. Yep. I'm not like, oh, Elon, you're amazing. Like, I've heard this before. I'm not a groupie. He nods his head, all cool. I say, hey, Elon, I have this homeless youth program. I'd love to inspire your story with my kids. Give me your email. He gives me his email. I leave. Now, what most people don't do, they don't do all that stuff. First of all, they hesitate. They're wondering what to say. They don't compliment them. And so I have something called CALF, C-A-L-F. Stands for compliment. A stands for ask, meaning ask for their contact information. They don't care about your business card. L means to leave, and F is to follow up. Every one of those steps, most people don't do. Most people just stay there like, oh my God, what do I say? He's already gone. When they approach, oh my God, Elon Musk, you don't care about you. Now you're considered a groupie. I compliment them. So who doesn't like a compliment genuinely? When you ask, you have to be direct. I literally, you know who Jamie Dimon is, Reed?
I've heard of him, yes.
He's the CEO of JP Morgan Chase.
Yes.
One of the top bankers in the world. He's a billionaire. I met him also in Davos, another place you go to, right? But this person, I'm not going to be too judgmental, but he just kept rambling on. When you meet someone of that stature or success, they don't care about you or I, bluntly speaking, because they don't know you. The most important thing is to get their contact information. If they actually give you your business card, golden. Email, golden. Assistant, email, golden. The whole point is, don't do what 90% of the people do is like, oh my God, you're blah, 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 and here's my business card. They don't care about you. And stop rambling on. So literally compliment, ask, leave, and follow up. And I say this only for the really high level success people. Sometimes you can have a conversation, but even that, frankly, they don't really know about you. And if you ideally are really smart, if you do have time, if you have 5-10 minutes, you Google them on the spot and you find out what charities they have. So if, let's say, I know enough about these people. So if let's say Rihanna, I'd be like, hey, Rihanna, I really admire your admiration for your grandmother. That's the first thing I say to Rihanna. She doesn't know me. And I'm already referencing her grandmother, which brings up her filial piety. I say, I want to see how I can support your charity. I'm not asking for a photograph. I'm not asking for anything. And that's why, again, so many people, they're so low level and tactless, especially at the high level they go. Even with me, by the way, I'm not a celebrity yet, but I get approached thousands of times. And people ask me, can you introduce me to Elon? I'm like, you're fucking stupid.
Do it yourself.
No, I mean, I just curse because it's so frustrating. I want to help everyone. Right. But that's why I wrote a book. That's why I have programs. And that's why, like, if people aren't, like, the last time I actually reached out to Elon was one of my colleagues was willing to donate $100,000 to a charity that I'm involved with, that Elon's involved with. And I said to Elon, 10-minute interview on your time, in your place, any, that's the only way. And I wouldn't take any of the money, by the way. You know, but what I'm saying is I won't even bother approaching him at all because there's no point, because Elon doesn't care about money. So what I want to stress to your listeners and your viewers that if you really want to go that high, you really have to do your research. You have to think long term, and you want to. I could email them my book. You can include that in the link.
Yep.
It's really about being brutally honest with yourself. Don't be delusional, thinking that they need you, because I hear this a lot. Because essentially, if you're a billionaire, you need to have a billionaire offer for a billionaire. And if you don't, then they don't really care about you. That's why if you think long term with galas, charities, nonprofits, then you have a higher probability, because even if you don't meet Elon Musk, you'll meet the other multimillionaires, other people that are in the same room. And that's why I love meeting billionaires, because they've done the work for you. They've vetted the room for you. There's only about 2,000 billionaires in the world. If a billionaire is in the room, you already know that that's a very vetted, qualified room. And that's why it's so specific. And that's why people call me this Navy SEAL sniper with networking, because I don't want to waste anyone's time.
And with Calf, what's the delivery? 15 seconds, 20 seconds?
I don't know. I mean, that interaction with Elon was probably less than 30 seconds.
Yeah. Well, it'd have to be, right? It'd have to be straight to the point. It can't be, as you're saying,
they don't care about you.
Fumbling around your words, right?
Yeah.
And so it seems to me that the charity is the biggest piece, because you get to strike the heart, right? It's something that they care about, and that is, and then the compliment with the charity piece, and then from there, what are you doing with the follow up? Are you trying to cultivate something? Because obviously the ask is going to be later on. It's not right today. You're asking about the charity. It's good to get the conversation going, but then for your business, how do you then use those relationships to then benefit you in your business and how you grow?
Well, here's the thing. I want to be clear. First of all, yes, the charity is a great way, but I actually believe in my homeless youth program, and it's all about, you have to find things that you love. And I don't think about using, it's about building a community, because I'm thinking long term. And some of them, I'm not doing business with them. I'm not doing business with Elon Musk. But it's about building my cachet, my understanding of people, getting inspired, building this network. And then the people with business, I've introduced my clients to billionaires. So it's not necessarily, and I've secured clients as billionaires too. So some of it's also branding, cachet, networking, and learning. But in terms of like actual billionaires, I mean, I have clients, but even the clients that are billionaires, they're often the nonprofit, because I'm not at their level yet. Because for me, again, my model is like, look, I speak for a living. I bill it at 20 grand for at least one keynote speech. I have online programs. So people that are interested, it's like I help them that. And with online, it's like this is multiple scalability. But in terms of like your audience and real estate and whatnot, the most basic thing is a lot of times I just find that they're not really educated with people. Like if I say, hey, do you know what a family office is, Reed?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, so you know, but a lot of people don't.
Right.
So I'll just start peppering some of these basic questions. And if they don't even know that, I just pretty much ignore them because they don't even know basic things. I mean, that's like one of the most basic things of really high net worth people. But going back to your question, it really depends for me, but it really comes down to listening more, setting up a quick 10-minute call, doing research on their website, figuring out what they want, but keeping it very, 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 very basic and doing a ton of research on the front end to figure out more about how you can help them. And don't be a generic, how can I help you? It's more about, I was very specific with, let's say, Rihanna. Mm-hmm. All these people, especially celebrities, they're so ADHD. Well, I'm thinking more about their personal life and what I can help with the nonprofits. And then maybe 3, 6, 9 months down the way, maybe I'll consider pitching them. So like a specific example, that guy that I met that's $100 million guy, I said, Doug, I admire your success. I'd love to take you out for lunch. Now, in his case, he's not a billionaire. And I have actually categories. I actually categorize big gamers. You have rhinoceroses, Cape buffaloes, elephants, lions, and leopards. I literally categorize. And this might sound really bad because I'm relating animals to humans. But these type of categories are actually really, really good. So he's considered a Cape buffalo where they're successful, influential, a big gamer, but they're not a billionaire, which is a lion because they're the lion. They're literally manning the whole world. But so for him, he was actually open to meeting up.